I got a few things I want to explain on this one right here. Uh, well, with the motor, everybody know about my. They saw my exhaust fall off, and that was actually the second time. The first video y'all didn't see, but on the first video, this bolt actually broke. This time it just vibrated out. And sometimes you kind of don't recognize things and probably either till you need them. But there's an actual 5mm hole right here where you can put a bolt in here. It actually locks that bolt up right there. I don't think I'm gonna have no more problems after that. Once I lock tight that, then lock tight this side bolt. But just if I do, I'm gonna put a little longer bolt in there, put a sleeve on here, and put a 5mm bolt, on the back of it right there, if I do have a problem. And for my exhaust header, I got two 25mm bolts, cut the head off of them, and you see right here, I put a slit there so I can screw them on and off. Okay. And if anybody, y'all can kind of see what I'm going to do. I'm going to put two bolts on there. I'm going to tighten this one up, then tighten the one behind it. Then I'm going to tighten them into each other. Now, I don't think that's going to even move at all once I do that. You can forget about that if you know anything about pressure and all that stuff. Next, my fan cover. It was on a 90-degree. It came around, went around. But the quickest way to A and B is go straight, and heat rises, so I cut the fan cover off. I cut it up so it comes straight off of it. Okay. The next thing I did was right here on the shroud. You can see I put like a 6mm hole from the bottom where it's flat up to about the bottom of the stop button. But you'll see that broke off too. So that I got another one of those, of course. So put it in. But you'd be surprised. This does wonders, man. This does wonders because the air goes into its natural direction of the shroud right against the fans, and that one was cooling right between the isolator block and the carburetor. And I do that to all my shrouds. All right, right here, back here. Oh yeah, let me explain something right here. The fan cut, the flywheel, I had a tutorial on that time. I lightened it, I balanced it, and I drilled the holes in the fins. I had it on here, and what happened was I heat soaked. I didn't have this slit in my shroud at the time, right there, that 6mm or 7mm slit right there, but it overheated. I didn't understand, like, because I had the two videos where I ran fine, but I think when I first got this motor, I told y'all it seemed like it was running a little hot, and then I had, but what else? Fan cover, that flywheel that I drilled the holes in. I got another video I'm gonna tack on the back of this where I didn't drill into the fins. I drilled right next to the weights to get the weight right. You always learning something. For the 30.5, any other motor would have been fine, but for this one, since the cylinder is bigger, it's generating more heat. Now, this is probably the biggest thing right here. Like I said, on my 30.5, you hit the gas, like I said, you can feel a wind like blowing in your face. I'm talking like literally 3 feet away, man. I'd be amazed sometimes when I feel the CMS blowing off that thing. This one you couldn't feel that. So I had drill holes in here. And it's not that pretty. And I probably covered up with some screen later, but the most important to keep this big thing, to keep it cool. And I went all the way around, okay? Now she's blowing air just like my 30.5, and I'm happy with that. Because when I mean she's getting a lot of high CMF now, man, is a beautiful thing. I'm really happy about that. I'll figure that out later, but the pull start was too limited. Like it was hampering the airflow on this thing. And like I said, I drilled holes and that wasn't enough, so I went and opened him up, and it's real sturdy and it's still tight and everything. But that's what I did. Like I said, it's not pretty, but the pull start was really hampering the airflow on this thing. So let me recap on that. I put this side 5mm bolt in here. I'm gonna lock tight both of them. I don't think that's gonna have a problem with that. I put these two bolt hole 25mm bolts and two nuts. I think that's gonna be a win-win right there. I cut the shroud. I put that slit right there, so when the when the flywheel is blowing, cooling, it's doing a good job. It's doing the engine and is really doing the carburetor and the what's called. I have a 21 two pin, a 22 two pin on in there. I think I'm going back to 21, but I actually drill holes in my snapper clutch back there, so when it's spinning, it's kind of picking up some air. Anything for cooling or lightening, that's just what I do. Like I said, I use the right angle grinder to do this. I'm like freaking Edward Scissorhands with that right angle grinder, man. I do anything with that. And that's pretty much it right there. And I want to try it one more time with this 22 two pinion, because I put my own springs in there. They're a little thicker than the highest springs that Snapper offers, and I tighten them up some more. So I might be getting around 10.5 on on the engagement. Maybe I'm gonna be up that high. We'll see. But I'll show you a video of that and see how she do. But I think the 22 is definitely coming off there. I like that. I like that greasy power, man. That nasty power, like she just untamed animal. So the 21 does it for me. Now this is for this, which is the most important one I'm about to show you now. This is the drive cup for the MTXL and DBXL, and this is the original pin for here. Okay. Now let me tell y'all something. This is only about 3/48. It's not even 3. It's not 4 millimeters, but it's about 3.5. Okay. Now this is the original pin. You see the slot in it. See that? The flat. This is for this. Okay. Y'all know what size that is. Hold on. This is. See that? That's not 4 millimeters neither. Now I've warped my pins. And this is a 4, that's a 5, and that's a 6. Okay? Now this don't fit in there. Now I'm gonna show y'all what I do to get that stuff to fit. Now you're gonna need a micrometer for one, or a digital ruler, whatever you want to call it. And you're gonna start from the smallest to the biggest. You probably gonna need about 3 of them for this one. Like I said, I go past this. I get my own 4 millimeter, cause like this is 3/48. This is like the original one that goes into this drive shaft right here. It's probably about 390, and it's like 4.02. So you'd be surprised what that little bit extra steel does, And so this is what I do. You take your drill and you actually submerge this underwater, and this just fit. And I work my way, and you're gonna feel this get hot under the water. I leave it under the water, and I go all the way through. Once I get that through, I go vacuum for. Once I get all the way through, then I go to the next one. You gotta keep stepping it up. You're gonna go all the way through. Once I get that through, I go to the next one until I get to the right size. And the right size, when I get it, is just right. And sometimes I'm gonna have to tap it in, like with a hammer or something. Not hard, but you know what I mean. That's how perfect it is. Like, it's just right. And but that's what you gotta do, so you can get away from this trash right here. You know what I don't understand? How they pick this one here? Well, like I said, just the closest one to 4 millimeters, but they don't put in their drivetrain. That's just them cutting corners, being cheap, or whatever they doing. But Kevy Kev got a solution here, man. I don't go through that no more. Y'all didn't see the video, but mine's broken in MTXL already. Now I have these in here. I got these 4.02s in there now, both sides, and I don't think I'm gonna break them because I ain't been breaking them, so I don't think I'm gonna break them. All right, now on the MTXL they didn't break, but I took one out already. I'm gonna put this 4 millimeter in there, which don't fit. I'm gonna step that up. You gotta always step it up, okay? And I do it underwater every time. I've been doing this shit for years, so and they work magic because they're a little bigger, but you don't have to do anything to the drive cup for it to fit. It'll just fit tighter. You know what I'm saying? So if the other one is kind of tight, the brand new one is tight, this is gonna be even tighter. So you don't have to do nothing. But on my DBXL, You know the one right next to the right next to the fan cover with that little short dog bone. I have a 6mm in there. I don't have a 5. I got a 6 in there. And after 2 years, it still looks like that. It ain't flat. It ain't cut. It ain't shred. When I get a chance, I'll probably show it if people want to see it. But nothing is wrong with it. But that's the only one that used to break right next to the fan cover because it's kind of on an angle and it's like a seesaw. People don't understand it. Like it's going back and forth, back and forth. That's why if you look at the 5Ts, their drivetrain is straight. And that's just the best bang for the buck you're going to do. Of course, it's a well-built vehicle. That's why it costs more. That's why they did what they do. All the R&D, whatever they call it, went into that truck. So, you know, you go, like I said, the fast way the A and B's go straight, they left it straight. And that's the way you keep it undisturbed. When it's going on the seesaw, that's where you're going to have problems. And that's why a Deep XL, and I got a 6mm in mine. And that, like I said, that takes a little more time because I'm going from 4, 5, then a 6. You know, she's stepping up. But that's the only part of my truck where I have a 6mm. The front part of the truck, nothing, none of that. I'll leave all that natural. I don't bother none of that. Actually, inside the gearbox, even with these drive cups, they still got the crappy, them 3.5s in there because the brunt of the force don't, you know, the rear is the one that's catching all the grip. But the front of the truck, I left it that way. The rear is where everything has changed. Even in my wheel axles in the back, I don't even have 4mm. I got 5mm. I have these ones in there now. I have 5mm back there. So they have 5mm there, 6mm up front, and 4mm inside the drivetrain. I think I covered everything, and I'm gonna put the little video of how I changed the flywheel for the MTXL, the one when I drilled in the fan, drilled in the flywheel fins, and how I changed it up. But I really now I know now since I did this, I opened this up, the one that I drilled into the fan, into the fans and the flywheel fins, it would have worked. But I got rid of that anyway. Like I said, I heat soaked right after that, so I got rid of that. But it would have worked now if I did this, because like I said, this pull start is robbing the hell out of it, because it's closed up, man. They should have figured out something better, but they didn't, and you have to do it yourself. Obviously, but I hope I covered everything. So, you know, like I said, I cut the little slit right here so it can cool the isolator block and carburetor. I cut this off so hot air can come off. Actually, I told you that on the other side, the bolt right here, which I really never paid attention. It was funny because I'm thinking about what I want to do to keep. I think that's going to be something that works, and I'm putting double nuts on here. And I'm going to turn them into each other, of course. And I think I'm not going to have a problem right there. But this is the most important right here. This is the most important right here. Get away from them small drive pins, man, so you don't have to carry the problem. Because before I used to do that years ago, man, I was replacing these like sometimes after a run. If I ran on Friday, I'll break it on Friday and replace it Saturday. Then 3 days later, break it again. I don't have them problems no more because I stepped everything up. All right, yeah, the flywheel was really balanced, but it's the thing. It was cutting into the CMF through the airflow that it was supposed to get with the additional holes in there. But like I said, this is a little more holes than they normally have to get. I mean, it's not as a newer one, so it's their brand, so it probably wasn't really casted from the factory, right? So I did this one right here. This is balanced now, but I didn't have to. I didn't drill into no fins here. I went right next to the weight. I mean, you're always learning. That's how you go forward. I guess you're always learning. And then when I put the third hole over here, it actually got a little too light, and I had to put 2 smaller holes right here. And it kind of wasn't enough. Then I had to turn around to the back, and I took the bigger bit. Just didn't go all the way through. So I just like bored the holes out a little bit. Now it's perfect. you get what I'm saying? Is the bullet line up? Yeah, he's straight. So there's no holes in the fins right here. This right here, this little guy right here is this thing right here is like this is good for an on-road car. I used to use it in my DBXL, but it was the same problem. It wasn't cooling enough, because you know off-road cars, they go through more torture, the motor does, because they're not RP, not going to their RPM range real smooth, as you know, hitting ruts and stuff like that. So, but this one right here spools up so fast. This one right here, I wish I could use it, because that thing just sounds crazy when you pulling the throttle on that one. But yeah, I'm getting rid of this one right here. Well, I'm gonna keep it for maybe a 30.5 or something like that, because this is definitely enough fins to keep the 30.5 cool. But the 45 obviously is drawing more heat, and the reason why it made my carburetor heat soak today. Take this one out, and I did this one right here. And, so like I said, you're always advancing, always learning. So now I guess whoever seen my last video see that you don't really have to drill into the fins, but I always did, but because I never had a problem with a whole flywheel like that, with a car overheating. The only time I had a problem with overheating is when I cut all these fins off. When I cut all these fins off, that's when I had a problem. But with a whole flywheel like this, I never had a problem with overheating ever. But the 45 is definitely drawing more heat. And I kind of explained that before with the pull start, how they had to drill some extra holes, but it runs fine. It'll be back. I'm getting what I want out of this one, but without losing the airflow.